He's the Jedi Knight of debt, the Tony Soprano of loan structuring, and possibly the only man in New Zealand who can explain interest only without using a whiteboard. This man knows more about mortgages than your bank manager, your accountant, and your parents combined. He's answering your top 10 questions to ask an expert mortgage advisor next.
Financial freedom faster. Financial freedom faster.
If you like making money rather than watching everyone else do it, hit that subscribe button because the numbers don't lie. More investors are getting their New Zealand housing and real estate intel in 2025 from this show than any other YouTube channel. Simon McDonald, the top 10 questions to ask an expert mortgage advisor. Number 1, what's the most profitable interest rate decision you've ever helped someone make?
Yeah, I like that question because it's actually coming to fruition. A lot of my clients that I worked with early on and at the bottom of the interest rate period are fixed in long-term under my advice, 3 to 5 years, and they had a 2 in front of it. I know that sounds crazy nowadays, but the other flip side was I just had a couple that I worked with was a break and refix and restructure, saving them $13,000 within a 12-month period.
Not bad. Did they give you a bottle of wine?
No, unfortunately, but they were very thankful.
Number 2, what's the one thing people always muck up when it comes to mortgages?
I think the biggest thing is overcomplicating things. You know, like we do have some general advice that we provide, and ultimately it comes down to people wanting to make changes in their own life to pay down the mortgage. A 0 point something percent here or a 0 point something percent there, or this bank's doing this or this bank's doing that. It isn't exactly in your best interest. You should be focusing on what you can do in your current environment.
Number 3, what borrower traits get the banks to stop laughing and start lending?
I'd say it's probably, making sure that the last 3 to 6 months account conduct is looking good, that you know how to handle your money and debt when you get it. The bank's giving you a lot of money and they want to make sure that you can repay it.
Number 4, what ridiculous stack of paperwork do I need to grovel my way to a loan?
Yeah, a lot of people think it's a lot. I think, it depends on the type of person. If you've got multiple businesses and multiple entities, it can be a hassle. We try to make it as easy as possible for people. But ultimately, if you're a couple looking to buy your first home or a second property, it can be as simple as, say, your IDs, your pay slips. And if we've got some information from you already, then it could just be updated bank statements.
Yep. The banks always want more information though, don't they?
You're right. In the most cases, what will happen is the bank will ask for follow-up information. And so it's really important to understand that up front. And we try to, let our clients know that that's going to happen. The faster response times we get from the client for clarity, the better.
Number 5, should we all be racing to pay our mortgage off early?
Yeah, that's a complicated one. I would say usually the common knowledge is that you pay off debt, right? But I would say I want to challenge that with a lot of my clients. They come in with a certain mindset, and by flipping that mindset, you can make some massive gains. For example, if you're looking to purchase an investment property and you haven't paid down your own occupied property first and you've got some money to go towards a deposit, I would highly recommend reducing your owner occupied mortgage first and taking 100% lending on the investment property. It's a much more tax efficient position.
Supplementary question.
Yes.
How hard is it to get a 100% mortgage?
It depends on how much equity you have in your home. And this is what I mean by using that deposit to pay down your home first, is because if you can cross-collateralize the existing asset, your owner-occupied property, you both get a much higher tax-efficient system in place with your debt structure, and also you have a better cash flow, because in most cases I'd be recommending a interest-only investment loan.
Number 6, what's the difference between pre-approval and pre-qualification? And why do they both sound so bureaucratic?
Yeah, what I would say is that when you come to MortgageHQ, for the first financial meeting that you have with us, you'll be able to understand and be pre-qualified. And what that means is that we run through the information you've supplied, and we can let you know what your position is, how much you can borrow, what your strengths and weaknesses are. And that's essentially being pre-qualified as an expert telling you what you can do. Now, pre-approval is actually going to the bank and getting it in writing. In a lot of cases, these pre-approvals have conditions. Now, if you're looking to sell your home to buy another one, then it may not be worthwhile going for pre-approval, so to speak. If you're looking for a specific investment property that requires the bank to check off, then again, if you're in a really good position and you've been pre-approved before, and especially recently, I probably wouldn't be recommending the client get pre-approved. I'd prefer them to work with us at speed to concentrate on the deal rather than actually being pre-approved.
Another supplementary question.
Yes.
What if I want to buy a house in 3 days? What's the turnover? How fast can you get it?
It depends. If you want to get the property under contract, you can do that. Just make sure you get 10 days finance clause in place, and we'll be able to turn around within that time frame. No worries. If you're wanting to attend an auction in 3 days, I'm sorry, I can't do that. But in those cases, if people are really interested in attending auction, then we'd be going for pre-approval.
Number 7. Are fixed rates always safer or just more expensive over time?
No, this question depends on the person's circumstance. If they've got short-term plans to sell a property, then that's going to dictate a big factor as to what rates you should take, fixed or floating, or even incorporating, say, an offset or revolving credit facility. If you've got, in some cases, unfortunate, a great aunt that passed away that's about to give you some money and the will is about to be finished and your rate's rolling over and you want to pay down the debt, then you may want to consider going on floating for a while. Another example, which has been happening a lot this year, is as the OCR announcements come up for renewal, if your fixed rate is, say, days before the OCR announcement, you may want to consider going on floating for a short period of time.
Number 8. What's your go-to mortgage structure for maximizing flexibility and control?
Yeah. If I had to make it a summary for all clients as opposed to specific, which is hard, but I would say an incorporation of interest rate averaging, which means you take an approach of, say, 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, something like that in this current market. And then the incorporation of a revolving credit facility that matches the cash on hand plus any future savings over that term versus fixed rate.
Number 9. What's a strategy only the wealthy use that everyday Kiwis should steal?
This is a really good one. And listen close, because this is where I see people make the most money. They don't concentrate on the interest rate. They concentrate on the deal. Now, if you can get a massive deal and it has to go through a second-tier lender at a high interest rate, but the margin's there, that's all the wealthy care about. They don't care about how much it costs to borrow the money. They care about what the deal is going to return them after borrowing that money.
Can you give me an example?
Yeah, for example, there are many securities that the bank's not willing to take. So we might go to a second-tier lender. Now, this person may be a tradie, he may be a builder, but banks aren't lenient to the idea that the property is going to be up to scratch in a certain time frame. They may not lend up to a certain amount. A second-tier lender may do that, and it may be a short-term option to allow you to get into that great deal.
And number 10. Should borrowers ever break a fixed rate? And how do you know when it's worth it?
Absolutely. In this environment where interest rates are coming down, you have an absolute opportunity to review this. A good advisor will be able to get the up-to-date break costs from your existing lender and do a break analysis for a possible refinance or a break and refix.
Simon, what is the number one piece of advice you can give someone looking for a mortgage?
I would say there is no downside to reaching out and asking for advice. That's the first step. And in a lot of cases, people are brilliantly surprised with the outcomes. So give it a go.
And when it comes to bank statements, the banks have seen it all.
There are certain activities that the bank doesn't like. For example, excessive alcohol or excessive gambling and things like this. Look, if it's within your budget, then the bank's not gonna care too much. If you have a story around it and you work with the advisor to craft that, we can get things through.
Realistically, the banks will see everything as well, right?
The bank will see everything, much more than just the statements. The bank has the capacity to do credit checks. They can look on social media. They can look on Trade Me at the property that you're looking to purchase. They can call around. There's a lot of digging in the credit department.
Simon, loved it. 10 top reasons to talk to you, and how do you find you?
You can go onto our website. I've got my contact details there, MortgageHQ, mhq.co.nz.
A reminder again, money moves fast and the investors making the most of it are here. This is the fastest growing property channel in New Zealand for a reason. If you don't subscribe now, just know that someone else is already using this knowledge to make their next deal while you hesitate.